What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to youtube.com/CubCamTV for this, another edition of CubReacts. Today, we're getting into one of the brand new drops that literally landed last night. Brand new from bad Boy Timz alongside Olamide. What a link up this one is. This dream duo linking up again for a new one that goes by the name Skelele. If the previous collab from these two is anything to go by, which was, of course, Loading, what a banger that one was. If this is on the same kind of caliber, then we are in for an absolute treat today. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves Christmas Eve. I hope everyone's nice and set for the winter season. And as always, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button on the right hand side of the page. We're going to have a few very spicy uploads on the channel today, so do stay tuned. Without further ado though, let's jump right into this one. I'm very much looking forward to it. Mate, the horn and brass work across the intro, are you mad?
I can't complain, but see how she dey look my face now. Cause she see my ex from my FaceTime.
Okay.
Now she wanna cut.
So this one immediately seems to be going on a slightly more chilled out vibe than Loading. I'm going to try and make a big effort on this one, not to just compare the tune entirely to Loading, as it's the kind of best reference point for both of them working together. That sort of brass work across the intro, and obviously the kind of saxophone lines as well, giving it this very kind of airy, floaty texture, very smooth introduction. Again, rolling into a kind of very nice sounding rolling 4x4 drum set. Very kind of stripped back, relaxed vocals as well across the intro. It's sounding good though. I'm looking forward to seeing where we end up.
Now why she wanna come my place now? Scatter the whole arena, but I go still touch her waistline. Baby, make a sample your baseline.
Okay.
This sound they go cause trouble for your ear. You go see danger, you go fear. But in a
I'm loving the rhythm, man. So again, quite I'd say quite sort of simple drum rhythms on this one. It's not super complex in the way the rhythms have been laid out. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. They've gone with quite a simple kind of 4/4 rolling pattern. You've got kind of shakers, random sort of dots of percussive implementation as well, just kind of dotted around it, giving it an extra bit of kind of liveliness. But overall, it's not too complex on the rhythmic side. This is really being carried by that lead vocal more than anything else. Very, very smooth, slightly electronically treated, but just running throughout the heart of the mix. Very clean. Again, this is a lot more kind of relaxed than Loading. Again, I'm trying not to compare it entirely, but it definitely feels like a much more stripped back kind of, more of a chilled out kind of vibe than Loading, which was obviously very in your face. But yeah, we'll see where we go.
Big container, almost see her chasing paper. See my Skelele, my sexy.
Those logs. I love that roll.
Oh baby, Skelele. See my Skelele, my sexy Skelele.
This is cool, man. The whole vibe of this tune is really nice. I'm loving the fact that we are getting into this quite, I don't want to say unique, because I have heard this sort of sound before, but it's quite a cool kind of middle pocket between that sort of Amapiano sound and, of course, the Afrobeat sound as well. This sort of middle ground, which is being made very, very popular. And I think the cool thing about this, more than anything else, obviously with those log drums, we're kind of used to hearing them fly all over the place, similar to how you hear 808s roll in drill and how you hear kind of break samples fly all over the place in jungle. They're the two comparisons I always make. With this, we're getting a very simple kind of grung, grung. That's the kind of use of the log drum here. It's just sort of one sort of very kind of chopped together skippy roll to give it kind of like an instantaneous impact. And again, I love the kind of the use of melody across the hook as well. That sort of again, it has almost like a euphoric vibe about it, but the fact the drums are quite mellow gives it this weird, unique pocket, which I really, really enjoy.
And
those little flutters of the brass and the saxophones in the background, very, very clean. It keeps growing as well and evolving. I love this.
You know, see, I fuck with you. And a nigga wanna rock with you.
Another switch up. Again, this is what I really, really enjoy about when these two collaborate. More than anything else, I love the fact that it is quite unpredictable. It feels like you're going one way, you get driven in an entirely different direction. The kind of unison and the way they're able to kind of bounce off each other in the vocal scenarios always works very well. They transition very well between each other. I'm loving the fact that we are getting constant little sprays of those sort of saxophone lines. We're getting these very nice kind of almost fluttering chord progressions in there as well. They just kind of go like bing, 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 bing in the background, and they just kind of flutter upwards. almost arpeggiating with the delays that are attached to them as well. The overall feel of this one is very enjoyable, man. It's not exactly what I was expecting, but again, they carry it. They've got so much swagger as an artist pairing that it definitely works with this much more stripped back nature.
Yeah, you know I be talking true. I know you're missing all the thing that I do. The way I give it to you, big it back a boom. You like a match I told in the room. I think if I can, I give it like a zoom. You like the way I put the G on you. My bed, then I sleep on you. Baby, they make a lean on you.
Really nice. Again, those chord sounds are just kind of glittering through the middle of the mix down on this one. Those sort of beep, 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 beep. Those little melodies there, just giving the whole thing a much more spacey kind of feel, and again, an additional layer of melody which is becoming more and more prominent as the tune progresses. Essentially with this one, we're going to get both Bad Boy Timz and Olamide kind of doing their vocals through the middle. That's going to be the main kind of feature, but essentially what we're getting is almost like backup dancers of instrumentation, if that makes sense. You've got these kind of fluttering chord melodies above, you've got these almost dancing log drums below, and it just kind of makes everything this swirling kind of pattern around the vocal. It works really, really well. And again, it pulls you in. It definitely does have this kind of hypnotic nature in the way that it's formed.
Normally, Cynthia can't complain, but see how she did look my face now. Cause she see my ex for my face time.
I love breakdowns like
wanna catch a kiss. Now why she wanna come my place now? Scatter the whole arena.
Yeah, and this is slowly evolving, man. We're starting to get these really nice kind of choral lines in the background as well, just kind of floating into the main mix. That sort of sort of line that's running throughout the background. We're also getting a lot more kind of switch ups with those log drums. They're starting to fly in a few different directions as well. We're getting extra harmonies on the vocals. They're sitting in the background very, very nicely. And then on top of that as well, we are starting to get a lot more kind of unpredictability in the breakdowns. That little break there where we get these two big drum smashes and the use of silence. The use of silence in the tune like this is very much underrated. It just adds that extra impact when everything then lands again. Very, very cool. I'm loving the experimentation on the rhythmic side of things.
But I go still touch our waistline. Baby, make a sample your baseline. This sound they go cause trouble for your ear. You go see this.
See that little melody on the top.
But in a that shit. Your body alone can game over. If you see a bacana big conga, big container,
the melody above as well. Really nice use of harmonies there. Again, bringing everything up. It's a very kind of positive sounding tune. It's definitely uplifting in the way it's put together. It has this very ascending feel to all of the vocals. The overall approach of the vocals definitely is going up. And then obviously that melody above it, which is just kind of expanding and doing its own thing at this point. And that kind of glittering synthesizer sound really is just kind of riffing at this point. I feel they may have been sat in a studio and one of the team behind the instrumental just kind of was going ding, 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 and just adding extra bits over the top for extra depth. And I think it's needed. I think it does add a whole different level of kind of texture to the tune, and it makes it feel a lot more complete. And yeah, I'm loving the fact that it is staying unpredictable. I'm trying to guess where the melodies are going to land, and I can't. 1 second we're with the saxophone, the next second we're with the synthesizer. It's really cool kind of being guessing the entire time.
See my sexy Skelele.
Nice use of panning on the vocals as well.
See my Skelele. My sexy Skelele.
Those rolling logs, bro.
See my Skelele.
Again, we're getting more and more experimentation with those log drums. They are starting to do very much what you hear in drill with those 808s. Those 808s in drill, you always hear kind of going like whoop, 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 and bouncing all around the higher end. With these, we're starting to hear those glides take place. We're starting to hear those additional kind of explorations of bassline melody with the log drums. And I think that's something that people shouldn't be scared of in a production sense. Try different things. Let them kind of roam wild. For me as a listener, I really enjoy when there's new elements every 8 bar. It keeps me engaged. It keeps my ears open. And that's a really good example of that in action. We've got around 40 seconds left of the tune, so we'll let it run through. Let's see what we're saying.
Oh baby, Skelele. See my Skelele. My sexy Skelele. Baby,
Again, the pan panning is getting more and more intense as the tune goes on. We are very much moving towards the end of it, but we're starting to hear vocal splatters in both ears. We're starting to hear a much wider sounding production than the original sort of... If you were to listen to the first 16 bars of this and this final 16 bars, you wouldn't necessarily go, they are 100,000% the same tune. Obviously, there's elements, you've got the same sort of vocal maneuvers and melodies, but there's different things going on the entire way through. Like, I'd say there's probably between 15 and 20 different phrases that have all been kind of mixed and matched throughout this one, which is what gives it that kind of energy and that constant sense of progression throughout. And I think that's so important, especially when we're kind of flirting with this amapiano sound as well. Anything in a dance music realm, you need to keep away from being repetitive, and it needs to have this kind of hypnotic nature to it. But yeah, we'll let this one run through and then give our final breakdown. Woo! Can't beat that. There we go then, people. The sounds of Bad Boy Timz alongside Olamide. The second link up, this one goes by the name Skelele. Really enjoyed this one. I love the more stripped back nature again. I tried to make an effort to not compare it to Loading. We'll do that now, though. I definitely think Loading is much more the tune for the clubs, a sort of group sense. This is definitely one for like the solo ravers. This is one where you can go out, find your place in the dance floor and do your thing on your one. That's definitely the vibe I get off this one. Very, very clean tune, though. I love the unpredictability, the fact that we're constantly fluctuating between different melodies. The use of panning on the vocals on this one's very, very clean. And overall, a good way to round off the year for the pair of them. So there we go. Hopefully you did enjoy this reaction, technical breakdown, and musical analysis. If you did, please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button on the right-hand side of the page. As you all well know, there is a very big remix landing today. We're going to be on the ball with that one, ready to review it the second it lands, so please do subscribe for that one. That's it from me, though. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas Eve, and we'll catch you all next time. Peace.
Sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a bright and town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, CubCamTV. Stay locked.